Hey guys, welcome back to Callus Crew Challenge Round of 8, the third round in the tournament. Really getting down to the nitty gritty. This is potentially an elimination match. It is going to be between LNumbers playing on Clark03 on the bottom for Team Rick and 40 against Dice on the top for Quint and Company. Now, the match that you guys did not see on YouTube because it was a Fairy Gen or us was a very close, well worth watching, hard fought set between Male and Luthier, Gen 6. I'm not going to spoil, well, I guess I kind of have to. I won't spoil how the games played out. You really should watch them for yourself, but I will give you the result. It was a 2-1 victory for Luthier for Quint and Company over Male, and therefore it's going to be Clark, LNumbers, needing to win here in order to send us over to a decisive Gen 9 battle between TPP and Tala, which would be a real good one. If Dice is to win here, and he comes into this with an 0-2 record, he's been carried by Tala and Luthier, who are both perfect, unblemished so far in this tour. But Dice, if he can get in the win column, is going to make that Gen 9 match irrelevant, and it won't happen. It'll just be a victory, and they will be our first team through to the semifinals, which is real close to the money. Really, I mean, top 8 feels somewhat close, but like top 4, you're really, really up in it. So, will we see our first semifinalist team here today, or is it going to be LNumbers forcing us to a third set between TPP and Tala in Gen 9? Let's find out together. More RBY action, which is apparently the new main here on the Callus Narrates YouTube channel. Lots of RBY lately. Bottom side Starmie, top side Chansey. Chansey's on every viable RBY team, it just doesn't usually lead. Some status effects miss, and we end up with a sleeping Zam that immediately wakes, but then just gets stun spored anyway. Fair enough. Full para as Chansey comes in, and we begin with an S-Toss, for both players in fact. S-Toss again, and recover. And now it's Chansey on Chansey. Seismic Toss is not a problem. They both may be able to fish for freezes against each other. Instead, Dice opts for Sing and misses, and then he's on the bad end of a sleep move, Sleep Powder. His Chansey takes a nap, but it immediately wakes. Tauros came in for the punish, but won't get the chance to do so. And now Executor itself, which put Chansey to sleep in the first place, is going to take its own nap. So you've got status effects flying all around, but everybody relatively healthy as far as HP is concerned. S-Toss full power, who cares? Soft-boiled comes down, Psychic fishing for a drop, which he does get, and there is an S-Toss back. Lax comes in for the first time, and it comes in on a recover, and Lax comes in for Dice as well. Lax on Lax, very common in this gen. It's kind of the best counter for another Lax, especially if it has Reflect, which is very common. But LNumbers with the outplay here. Dice is going to pop it and go for the boom, and he's going to boom into an unrevealed Rhydon. Not quite as good as booming into a Gar, but pretty good for the Rhydon player. And early advantage for LNumbers in Game 1. Lapras makes an appearance for Dice. Full para kicks in, however, and the Retaliation Blizzard is resisted. Freeze there, obviously, what he was really hoping for, but the damage not that exciting. Couple switches later, we end up Chansey on Chansey. Soft-boiled definitely coming from LNumbers unless he full paras, which unfortunately for him he does. He's then on the bad end of a crit, so some danger briefly, but then he's got a soft-boiled out of it. One more soft-boiled, and just like that, crisis averted, back up to full health. S-Toss Psychic again, full power now kicking in against Dice. Won't die to another S-Toss though, which of course has no chance of critting, and it'll always deal the same amount of damage, exactly 100, which is equal to the user's level. You guys all know that. So there is full para and S-Toss again. Lax comes in once again on a Zam recover. And I'm not sure what the counter is going to be now for Dice, now that his own Lax is gone. It was not a Reflect Lax either. He had the Boom set. So Lax is going to be kind of a difficult Pokemon now for Dice to deal with. If he has his own Rhydon or something to that effect, you would think he would have gone to that by now, especially when we know that there's no electric on LNumbers' side and Dice would not have to hide his ride-on in the back, trying to counter a late Zapdos or something to that effect. So it looks like Dice is just going to struggle with the lax this game for LNumbers. There's Slowbro in the back, so it's got to be Last Poke Bull, of course. So full team effectively revealed for Dice. Lapras plus Slowbro, fairly uncommon, but it's cool to see. Dice in every tier, even a tier as narrow as RBY, is known for his creative and unconventional builds. You either love that or hate that about him, but he just plays his own way, marches to the beat of his own drummer. Slowbro there, even though it got an Amnesia off, which is a double Calm Mind effectively in Gen 1, gets out of the way regardless. Slowbro is very powerful on paper. Double Calm Mind with one click is broken as all hell as far as RBY is concerned. But because of the way crit mechanics work, with them inherently tied in with speed, with there being a lot of fast mons, crits happen way more often in this tier than they do in any other, and as such, Slowbro is very much a critical hit magnet. It sits there, it boosts up, it boosts up, it boosts up, it has these godly stats on paper after all the amnesias, but then you just crit it, and it happens all the time. So Slowbro is considered a viable poke, but it's not one of the like top 6, top 7 mons or whatever. It's somewhere on the outside looking in, and you don't see it too often. But anyhow, Dice, after hyper beaming the Starmie, which was overkill given how low it was, is going to catch up a little bit, but we see just now that LNumbers is going to also get a hyper beam kill on the Lapras, and here's yet another hyper beam kill on the Zam. This one looking just about over, and ultimately the biggest issue here is that Dice's team seems really vulnerable to Lax, which is kind of a mon that you can't cheat against because it is everywhere in this tier. Nobody's not going to bring Lax. Dice would need some Tauros magic here. He would need exactly perfect crits, misses, what have you. There you go. Hyper Beam miss on the other side, and then he crits his own beam. Dice has no business winning this game, but he actually has a shot to do so now. Hyper Beam kills Chansey. This would be a robbery if Dice wins here. It shouldn't happen. He has no business. None. Is this going to happen? Wow, this is a robbery if Dice wins this game. Wow, highway robbery. Highway fucking robbery there. Dice had no business. Tauros just takes out 5 pokes at the end. I feel like LNumbers deserved that one. I thought that Dice's team was really vulnerable to Lax, which is a mon that you cannot be vulnerable to. Cheated against a mon that you cannot cheat against. And then just got all the things at the end with his Tauros. That was rough. I mean, he did set it up to have Tauros be strong in the late game, but he still, even within that, needed multiple instances of luck that he got. And like I said, that just kind of felt like a robbery. If I were LNumbers right now, I would be a little steamy. And now is not the time to be steamy because your team is 1 game away from elimination. LNumbers must win 2 games in a row here, or his team, Rick and 40, is going to be eliminated without even giving the Gen 9, in their case, TPP, a shot to win it for them. Dice is going to have potentially 2 chances here to get the job done. He only needs one of them, of course. So before we get into Game 2, which is right here, let me give you the spiel. You guys know the deal. I'll keep it quick. If you enjoy the tournament, please hit the like button. Please consider hitting the subscribe button. If you want to see the games that you have not seen on YouTube, all the Fairy Gen stuff, join the Discord server. There is a link in the description. All the replays are neatly organized in a little section. You guys can just check out any of the matches you may have missed. And the most important thing you can do to support the tour is to consider donating to Callus Crew Challenge number 2. We have a target number of $900 because I really want to be able to pay out $300 each to the winning team. Right now we've got $760-something, which is great. I really appreciate you guys and your generous donations, but we're not yet at our target number. So if we could just raise another $140 or so between now and the end of the tournament, I would be very happy, and that would really make me motivated to run tournaments like this in the future, including Callus Invitational 7, that I know you guys are really enthused about. So if you have the means to donate, please do consider joining the Discord server. hitting that donation link real quick. Can be anonymous if you want, can be credited if you want. It's fast, it's safe, it's through PayPal, and everything really does help. So please consider supporting the tour in that way. Back to the matter at hand. LNumbers, Clark 03 on the bottom, must win 2 games in a row or his team will be eliminated in the round of 8. Dice with 2 opportunities to get himself in the win column and close it out for his team, securing them a spot in the semifinals. So, standard leads, Zam and Starmie here. Neither one happy. We end up with eggs on Chansey, which becomes eggs on eggs. Dice does land his sleep powder and puts his counterpart down for a nap. And we end up with Bull on Chansey. Tauros is not going to take the risk of being hit with a T-Wave, or in this case, a Sing. But the nap is short-lived as Starmie immediately decides it's not all that tired. The follow-up Sing, not going to connect. Neither is this one. But these surfs are really not that exciting. This Sing does connect. Obvious soft-boiled coming here. And Chansey good to go for LNumbers. He's going to fling a T-Wave, so he's double status. He has both T-Wave and Sing on this particular set. And Lax is going to come in for LNumbers, and he's going to just take a shot in the dark. He's going to, hey, you know, what the hell? Let me see if I can catch a Gar or a Rhydon or whatever. Let me just go for EQ rather than the more obvious body slam. I don't mind that at all. Didn't work out in this case, but there's no harm. A lot of upside to that play, and EQ is not that much worse than body slam, even if you do just get a normal switch in. So, most of the team revealed for both guys. It's obviously going to be Tauros in the back for LNumbers, and not clear what the back poke is going to be yet for Dice. Very well just could be Alakazam or something generic along those lines, but it's Dice, so it also could be, Shed Ninja. How about that? Could be anybody. Anyhow, here is Ice Beam. Can't freeze something that's already paralyzed. Body Slam works. And we go to Starmie here as Lax wakes for Dice. Chansey gonna come in just in case. Hey, the Surf would have crit there, so maybe the Lax would have been in danger. Instead, Chansey's back up to 100% for Soft Boil, but Lax is gonna start slamming him. Counter, however, gonna catch LNumbers off guard. He's gonna follow up with Hyper Beam though, and Dice doesn't get out of the way, so what was a really good play for Dice with that counter, getting a big advantage killing the Lax, simply results in a trade after the Hyper Beam revenge kill. So we've got ourselves a 5-5 Bull mirror match. Neither one of them is content to stay in and go for Hyper Beam here. They both switched. And Lax is going to be at just 26%, but we know that this Chansey doesn't have a move that can crit. He's soft-boiled, double status, and seismic toss, so you can't even fish for the crit against Lax there. And as such, the rest is guaranteed. Dice is going to get it off. Chansey sneaks in on Mega Drain, which is not going to be that exciting in this matchup. It does, of course, hit Starmie super effectively, but what you're really hoping to get with that is, of course, Rhydon, which it doesn't seem, I mean, maybe Dice has one in the back, but LNumbers did not bring that this game. Full para coming down for Lax. Here's the S-Toss, trying to get more full paras, which he does. He's going to need another one, though, to kill him. And he doesn't land that. Starmie comes in on the rest turn. Executor reappears. Starmie probably not too excited to stay in against something that he knows has Mega Drain. Full para comes down for Dice, however, and it is just a generic Alakazam in the back for Dice. So, remarkably similar teams here. They led in different orders. Some of the sets might be a little different, but as is just kind of a thing sometimes in RBY, they've got the exact same 6 Pokemon. So Zam on Zam now. Opportunity for a bad full para for Dice, but he does get the recover off. We skip the following turn as they both full para, and now they both fire off a Psychic, the better one going to LNumbers with a crit. Recover does happen, though, and Bull sneaks in. Opportunity to do some damage. Hyper Beam comes up short, but Starmie's still taking its nap. Dice is not going to be able to punish him here. Bull gets out of the way. We end up Zam on Zam yet again. More paralyzed RNG nonsense mirror match. S-Toss and Recover. Recover again. And Psychic now, hoping for a drop, which he does get. Now he's going to go for S-toss. S-toss back. And recover, recover. A lot of RNG going on here. That Psychic even better, 24%. Still not as good as S-toss though. And LNumbers has seen enough. Switches to his Chansey on the recover turn, only to go back to Zam for yet another S-toss. And there's another, but recover gets off. Danger averted for LNumbers. 2 recovers later, good to go. And more S-toss. Dice the one pushing this here, but the full power is being avoided when LNumbers needs to avoid them. Full power there. Potential danger here. Speed tire, full power could result in a dead Zam. And he does, of course, just go for S-toss. Bull's going to body slam rather than Hyper Beam, and Dice with the outplay that turn. Hyper Beam would have killed Zam, but the mind games go to Dice. He manages to kill the Bull, and Dice, who's already up a game, trying to get his team in the semifinals, takes the Mons lead here. Lax is going to wake up. T-Wave going to try to fish for the full para. Does not get it. Body slam comes down. Here's Starmie coming in on rest. Starmie has consistently been the go-to for LNumbers into this Lax. Doesn't seem to have a good way to punch through Executor, though. For the Starmie, we have not seen the last move, but you've got to think with the way it's being played that it's either T-Bolt or Psychic, both of which, of course, would be resisted by the Executor. If he had Ice Beam or Blizzard, I think this would have been played differently, and he'd be trying to catch that on the way in with that super effective attack. Soft-boiled comes down now. Body slam. Soft-boiled again. Not sure what he's trying to stall him out for. You've got to click T-Wave at some point, right? And he does. He just needs to avoid a crit on that turn, which he manages, but he doesn't go for the soft-boiled there, and that is wise because he knows that Dice is going to pull the trigger on Hyper Beam. That was smart of LNumbers to sniff that out. Very heads-up play. Would have lost his Chansey there had he stayed in. But even though the Hyper Beam had not yet been revealed for Dice, he knew it was coming, and he managed to avoid what would have been a disaster there. So LNumbers keeping himself in the game, but it does feel like he's on the back foot. It's RBY, so things are subject to change very quickly, as we saw in the robbery of an endgame that was last game. But right now, it feels like Dice does have the advantage. Bad full power for LNumbers, ×2. But it's not going to matter without even more. There's a third one. And he goes for a cover. He doesn't even kill him. Finally, he wakes. And he doesn't full power that turn. I think he would have been super tilted had the full power kicked in that turn. But it did not. Psychic going to take the Tauros out. Got ourselves a close one here. LNumbers has managed to take the lead in this game. And now it's going to be him going aggro in the Zam mirror match. Neither one comfortable. Both go for a cover. Slightly healthier for LNumbers. Psychic there with a crit and a drop. Exactly what he'd be looking for. Follows it up with a full power, though. Dice gets healthier. Full power again for LNumbers as he eats an S-toss. Not in danger of death from another, though. Gonna recover regardless. Lax comes in. Starmie the answer. Double back for Dice. And the Executor again, which Starmie has not indicated that it can touch. Mega Drain, get a little health back. Not much, but it all counts. There's no lefties, so every little point matters. And we're Zam on Zam again for what feels like the 10th time in this matchup. Psychic, why not? And S-toss. Out of the way. And he does not go for the kill there. Chansey sneaks in and gets a soft-boiled off. T-Wave comes down now, but the soft-boiled has already happened, and LNumbers manages to get his Chansey. That was critically low, back up to full health here as it begins S-tossing against the Zam. As a reminder, LNumbers must win this game and a theoretical Game 3, or his team is eliminated. See if he can get out of this game. Got ourselves a close and rather long RBY contest here as we cross turn 120 and approach. I mean, I don't think this is going 300, but we've got ourselves a longer game here. We've seen a number of RBY games in this tour go well over 100 turns. And here we are with another. Recover and soft-boiled coming down. Full power doesn't really matter there. You would need a couple more for it to matter. There's one. But he over-predicts with T-Wave there rather than throwing an S-Toss at him. Or perhaps he doesn't want to waste PP anymore. Yeah, there's it's not even an over-prediction, it's just not wanting to waste the PP because there's nothing to paralyze. Executor and Lax are already paralyzed. Now he goes for S-Toss. And that one's going to matter. Full para for Dice is going to result in losing his Lax. LNumbers looking good to send us to a third game here. Up 4-2 in the late stages of this one. Full para for Dice. Twice. Chansey also fully paralyzed. There's a fifth full para in a row. And finally, somebody does something. But there were 5 1 and 4 full paras in a row there, which is not overly likely mathematically. But here we are. Psychic coming down with a Specs drop. Soft-boiled Retaliation. Has the Executor... Yeah, we don't know the last move yet, so there is still the looming threat. It could have a lot of things. And we'll never know because Dice concedes. But we don't know the last move. Can be Double Edge, Hyper Beam, Stun Spore, some other stuff. Doesn't matter. Dice going to pack it in. LNumbers does manage to get this one, and he is going to send us to a third game. A game that, as I have said, and will say one more time, LNumbers must win, or his team, Rick and 40, is eliminated. If LNumbers does win, it sets up a Gen 9 clash between TPP, Team Pokepals, and Tala to decide the series. So third and final game. I won't give you the whole spiel again. Hopefully you guys have hit that like button by now. Let's get into it. Clark is on the bottom. That is LNumbers, and he's got an invisible Gengar. There we go. Now he's visible. Dice on the top with Jinx. Guard does land Hypnosis, and the Nightshade aggro begins. Jinx taking a long nap, and LNumbers off to the better start in this game without a doubt. Starmie going to prompt out the Gar. And Chansey going to be on the bad end of a T-Wave, which is good because now he can't be frozen. LNumbers going to fish for his own freeze, doesn't get it. And Gengar comes in to potentially wall the Snorlax. It's too early to know if he really walls him, but good majority of the time, Gengar will in fact completely wall the Lax. So here's Jinx sneaking in on a full para from Chansey. 2 full paras from Chansey. And there's a Thunderbolt. Would die to a follow-up Thunderbolt here, which Dice obviously knows and gets out of the way. And he brings in Rhydon, trying to get that in on Thunderbolt. Instead, he gets it in on Lax, which I think he's also going to be reasonably happy with. And Dice is going to bust out Tail Whip, which is not a move that I'm overly familiar with in RBY. I mean, I'm familiar in the literal sense. I played the cartridge games, and Squirtle, who I always pick as the starter, starts out with Tail Whip. I obviously know what the move does, but not sure what the goal is as far as competitive RBY, but that's what Dice has opted for here. Executor comes in. Body Slam rather than EQ is smart. Give yourself a chance to potentially find a para. Doesn't get it, but I like the play. It also does more damage to Executor than EQ would have, so good in that regard as well. Lax is going to come in on a T-Wave. Can't be frozen anymore, but Ice Beam nevertheless coming down. Obviously, blow for blow, Lax would beat him here. And there's a Hyper Beam that does not get the job done. However, LNumbers also doesn't get the job done with his Hyper Beam. But then Dice misses his Hyper Beam. So a lot of nonsense there. RNG coming down, damage rolls coming down. A lot of garbaggio on that one. But the result is going to be a dead Lax after inconveniently missing Hyper Beam. However, Earthquake crit here is going to kill what was a fully healthy Gengar on the other side. So an action-packed few turns. When the dust settles, we're going to have ourselves a 5-5. And Jinx is in danger of dying to a Thunderbolt should it not dodge a full para. But LNumbers has got to be kicking himself. He instead clicks Ice Beam. Thunderbolt would have killed the Jinx there. He must have been deathly afraid of the Rhydon coming in. He didn't want to Thunderbolt into Rhydon and give it a free switch and a free substitute. But instead, he Ice Beams into the Jinx, which is going to allow the Jinx to get a rest off. Jinx would have been dead there had he simply clicked Thunderbolt, but Dice wins the mind game turn has the bigger balls in that instance, and now he's going to crit the Chansey. Things going from bad to worse for LNumbers. Makes a blunder and doesn't kill the Jinx when he has a chance, and then gets unlucky with a second Pokemon dying to an Earthquake crit. Things unraveling for LNumbers. He falls behind and needs to come back. His team's tournament life on the line. Dice trying to get some recovers off here, and LNumbers playing it very aggressively, trying to get drops and crits or what have you. He does find a drop here. However, he's immediately crit back. Rhydon sneaks in on Psychic. There's a relevant crit for LNumbers. That was a very good turn for him, picking off the Rhydon with both the correct position and the luck of a crit. And Hyper Beam there fails to crit for Dice, giving LNumbers an opportunity. Lands a huge Sleep Powder, but the immediate wake for Tauros. And now, of course, with that being faster, Executor is in danger. Relevant RNG there. Had he stayed asleep, different scenario, but as it stands, we end up bull on bull. Dice not comfortable with it. Gonna fodder off Jinx. Tight late game here. Thunderbolt underwhelming, but full para comes down. Here's Chansey in case there's another Thunderbolt, which there is. And out of the way he goes as Ice Beam comes down. Ice Beam again is not going to be enough. He seemingly doesn't have S-Toss, but full para for LNumbers, preventing him from getting a recover off. Here's Ice Beam again, this time with a crit. That's going to make the Reflect not do it there. And now it's just the bull for LNumbers. Gonna have to crit Hyper Beam. Does not, and T-Wave there should end it. There's Ice Beam. And there's Ice Beam again. Just like that, LNumbers gonna be out, and you can tell by some of the comments he's making in the battle that he is displeased, possibly with his own play, possibly still steamy from game one, or possibly just feeling, perhaps rightfully, that he got very unlucky in this late game. RBY, obviously a lot of variance in this tier, and at the end of this game, when it really, really mattered, the variance seemed to go the way of Dice. But with that, Dice is going to pick up his first match win, advancing to 1-2 on the tour, not being completely carried by his teammates anymore. And he is going to punch his team a ticket to the round of 4, to the semifinals. Our first semifinalist team, in fact, is going to be Quint and Company. A good run for Rick and 40, top 8, very respectable. When there were 32 teams to begin with, that's the top 25%. Good run, something to be proud of. But their tournament has come to an end. Rick and 40 out, Quint and Company in the top 4. And there's going to be quite a few more games coming this round. I will bring you all the non-Fairy Gen stuff. But if you want to see all the stuff, including Fairy Gens, like I said, best way to do that is in the Discord server. Link in the description. Appreciate you guys watching. Lots more to come in this round. I will see you in the next video.